Welcome to the Community Church of Chesterland. Wherever you are on life's journey, you're welcome and wanted here. We're very excited for today. We have a lot going on for this beautiful special service. Now is the time where normally in other churches you might see us pass the plate, but we don't pass the plate around here. We just bring attention to all the ways that you can contribute your gifts, whether that is financial, talent, prayer, or other sorts of ways. If you'd like to make a financial contribution, you can do so in the plate in the back or online and Tithely, or you can send us a check and our address is in the back. So now is the time where if you can rise in body or spirit for us to sing our adapted doxology.
Praise to the source of all we know, for peace and love that freely flow. Praise to the wisdom deep and wise, whose truth and justice open eyes.
This particular version of the Lord's Prayer we got from Wendy. It's based on the words of Chief Seattle. It seems wonderfully apropos. Join with me, please. All is sacred. All is sacred. Every part of this earth is sacred. The earth is our mother. The water's murmur is the voice of our Father. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every clearing and insect is holy. For all of us share the same breath. The wind that gave our grandfathers breath also receive their last sigh. We know, and will continue. This we know. The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. All things are connected. Our God is the same God, whose compassion is equal for all. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Thanks be to the Creator, the God of all. Aho. So our readings are, I will create rivers in the wasteland, from Isaiah 43:19. From John Leslie Powell, who was the first Anglo to float the length of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is a land of song. Mountains of music swell in the rivers, hills of music billow in the creeks. The meadows of music murmur in the rills that ripple over the rocks. Altogether, it is a symphony of multitudinous melodies. All of this is the music of the waters. The adamant foundations of the earth have been wrought into a sublime harp, upon which the clouds of the heavens play with mighty tempests or with gentle showers. From Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. The river knows everything, and one can learn everything from it. They both listened silently to the water, which to them was not just water, but the voice of life, the voice of being, the voice of perpetual becoming. I reviewed my life, and it was also a river. Throughout our lives, some of us may have unique, transcendent, or spiritual experiences which are earth-shattering, during which we feel connected with the universe in new and meaningful, significant ways. The sudden and profound depth of connection with the universe changes our whole world, and our very existence incredibly and irrevocably shifts in significant ways. And as our consciousness refocuses, everything that follows in our life is or will be influenced or shaped by those times. I have had 3 such experiences in my life. The most recent was connecting with Luann in 1988. I felt it at the time and continue to appreciate how that encounter has shaped everything I have done since. Prior to that was the birth of our daughter, Alex, in 1982. I was also aware at that moment that it was transformational, and to this day I remember being so awed that I could not move away from her crib, except of course to take pictures for a long time. I just chose not to show those pictures because they were a picture of a young baby, very newborn. Ultimately, however, my first trip down the Grand Canyon was my most world-altering experience, shifting and shaping everything in my life that has followed. Although I was not completely consciously aware of the impact the river was having on me at the time, I do recall that others on the trip expressed a total lack of surprise when I began talking about working with the river company, but that's a different story. I have floated through the Grand Canyon 4 times. The first time was with my parents. The second trip was with Luann and our daughter Alex. The third trip was with Luann. And the most recent trip was this past September of this year with Alex. So, and I've struggled with this, how to say this in so many different ways, but I'm going to try to share with you some images that will give you the idea of what such a trip is like. A float trip down the canyon is overwhelmingly immersive. Even though I did not always recognize it, the 74 trip was so significant that most of what I have thought, done, and behaved since, including the 3 subsequent trips, have been in part seeking to recreate and reconnect with that first experience. I usually feel that I must explain the canyon's significance with all kinds of information, using pictures and their circles and arrows on the back, explaining each one. Luann, however, recommended that I not share the unlimited thousands of pictures that I have. And she's correct, and the more I worked on this presentation, the more it sounded like a college lecture, tedious and at times overwhelming with minutia. So I quit playing around, and I'm going to try to do this with a much more limited narrative. If you want more of the nitty-gritty of how we live, the environment, the structure and geology, etc., I would be happy to satisfy, but that, as they say, is a different story. To understand the canyon, there are several elements to engage. First, it is big. I mean, really big. No matter how you look at it, it is like a cathedral with soaring walls. And meditative spaces. You're not alone. The canyon is inhabited. And it was inhabited before. The canyon is breathtakingly beautiful. Regardless of where you look. every time of day. Or night. A river trip is fun. You build community. You're with the same people in a stunningly beautiful place, yet harshly majestic setting for 16 days. So what have I learned from the river? The river experience for me is transcendent. It is 16 days during which we were in an extreme setting. All of our senses are challenged. All of my assumptions about what is important, how to live, what to do, or how to do it are challenged and reshaped. Just as the desert, the river and the canyon are beautiful. They are harsh. Survival is only for the adaptable and prepared. So respect the environment. Ignoring it is dangerous and can be fatal because the desert really doesn't care. The river is intimately personal. There are no distractions. Yes, the rapids are fun. And during the first 3 trips, we ran all of the rapids without a problem. Even the one event I had experienced in '74 in Lava Falls was more exciting than frightening. Our boat got trapped against some rocks and suffered some damage. The 2025 trip was different. We had 2 broken oars, a boatman who had to be replaced mid-trip for health reasons, and we had 2 boat flips. This is a series of House Rock, which is the rapid in which I flipped. There's this large hole. You can see the boat disappearing into it. And in this case, coming out of it. Mine did not. So I'm going to share with you a video that captures what the experience was like, even though it was back in Lava Falls. This is what the rapid looks like as you go into it. That he thought he was on, and he realized he was too far right, and he says, "Yep." And when you miss your line, for us on our trip, that flip happened on the second day after I'd made the rather rash statement that I'd never been flipped before. And that flip forced me to reconsider my relationship with the canyon. Prior to that, it was exciting, it was fun, and I thought it was only spiritual, but the reality is that I had to deal with some pretty basic fear. I was pretty scared for the balance of the trip. It's not just fun and excitement with good friends. It is life distilled down to visceral experiences which demand understanding. It brought things for me into a clearer focus. Every image remains the same, but my lessons have changed. And the lessons I take away are, when it's not going as you expected, lesson number 1 was face your danger. Just as every rapid has the proper line to run it cleanly, every situation in life has the optimum approach. Make a plan, know the line you want, but expect it to change because it will. Change is everything. Everything changes. Nothing remains the same. Don't push the river. It flows by itself. You can only dance with it. Be flexible. Expect the unexpected. If you're caught in an eddy, accept that you will need to go upstream to get back in the current. Don't push it, because no matter what happens, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, there is this river. Wild or calm, always, there is this river. And that's fairly short, but that's what I have. The spirituality of the place is, the Native Americans, every place in the canyon is holy.
John, I did the river
I'm
over
sorry?
40 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
There was a side canyon that we hiked up to, and it was amazing. There was a place up there, I swore I was in the Garden of Eden, up one of the side canyons. It was just, there was a pool of water, flowers, grass, just amazing, just amazing. There are so many secrets down there, and
Yep.
I didn't get to see them all,
Oh, no.
definitely. And I'm pretty sure you didn't either.
No, 4 trips is not enough.
But it is really a moving experience to be down there. And you are one with nature, and you're at the mercy of her.
Absolutely. You're probably describing Elves Chasm. Elves Chasm is possibly Deer Creek. Elves Chasm is a series of staged bowls as you go up, and each one has a pool in the middle of it, and
Waterfalls.
water flowing down.
Water follows.
And when I was there, the water would gather up on the moss and roll down in large globules. It was just crystally, called Elves Canyon. Deer Creek is another one. I mean, every rapid you see has a side canyon attached to it, each of which can be hiked sometimes 10 feet, sometimes 20, 30 miles.
Only 1 year before you went to the Grand Canyon, at 10 years old, I went on a float river trip in Alaska with my father and friends that had all traveled up there in a caravan from Wisconsin. And we spent only 7 days, but it was in the wilderness, the total wilderness. And I had a similar flood back of memories from watching your experience. And I remember the moment that the float raft went under a tree, and my father had been fishing, and so he had waders on, and it pulled him out of the boat, and slowly drug him along the edge of the boat and under, and his waders filled with water in about 10 feet of water. And he had a hell of a time getting back out. And watching your adventure brought me back to that moment of realizing that this has to be taken seriously. That our earth is a gift, and it's also a threat at the same time for those who don't give her the respect. I love this, and I appreciate putting it into a rightfully spiritual context for us. Thank you.
I want to know if you went on your first trip like as a tourist, or did you go expecting to have a spiritual experience?
No, I did not expect to have a spiritual experience. I had just finished my master's degree and was going to be heading off to my doctorates and had the summer off. I knew the only thing I had in the summer was Uncle Sam, when you finish your active duty tour, wants you to come back after 2 years and do a 2-week summer camp. So I had that looking forward to me. That's all I had for the summer of '74. Mom and Dad had booked the trip and got hold of Martin Litton, who was the owner of the boat company, and said, "Do you have a spare seat? Our son's at loose ends." And they did, so I did. And I got there thinking, well, this will be fun. I went down in my army boots, for heaven's sakes. I mean, I was wearing those big, heavy black army boots. No, I was not expecting that. It slapped me upside of the head so hard. There's a spot, I don't know if you remember it, Luann, Cardenas Creek, where across the way was an area that was restricted because it was an archaeological site. I'm pretty sure that's where we camped that night, at that site. I've looked back at the pictures and looked back at the things that were there. And we camped at an area that has now been cordoned off by the Park Service as an archaeological site, holy site. And I went up hiking from camp and sat up there. And I could literally feel the canyon, feel the spirit of the desert coming down and tapping me on the shoulder. That's when it hit me. That was the spiritual moment for me right there. When I got off the river, I was so enraptured. I mean, like I say, there was a clinical psychologist that was on the trip, and I started talking towards the end of the trip about wanting to do more with the river. And he said he was not surprised. He'd seen it in me, building in me all the way through. I didn't know it, but he'd seen it. And I almost did. I mean, Martin, who was the godfather of the commercial trips, recognized that in me and kind of gave me a test. He said, we have this van that he'd purchased in Los Angeles. I said, well, I was at loose ends for a week, so he flew me to Los Angeles, and I drove the van back, and I almost would have said at that point, what else can I do? I didn't, because I had to get on the plane and go to Fort Leonard Wood, shave off my ponytail, and do my 2 weeks. And I didn't come back till 2010. But had I not had the Army, I would have blown off my degree. I would have blown off my person that was going to be my wife then and mother of Alex. I would have said, no, this is where I want to be. But Uncle Sam had other plans, and so here we are. Other thoughts or questions? Okay, like I say, it's an incredibly immersive thing. You can, if you sit me down, I can talk to you for hours, but I won't. we part, I have an indigenous prayer for you from the canyon, from the heart, from nature. I give you this, one thought to keep. I am with you still, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow, I am in the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain, I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled light. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I'm with you still in each new dawn. Thank you. Go in peace. Namaste.